This week, the House is expected to vote on a TikTok ban, and President Biden is saying he'll sign a bill to ban it. So, why is he on it?
Chiefs or Niners?
Two great quarterbacks, hard to decide. But if I didn't say I was for the Eagles, then I'd be sleeping alone. My wife's a Philly girl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce?
Mama Kelce. I understand she makes great chocolate chip cookies.
He doesn't know how to use TikTok. Biden's election campaign officially joined TikTok weeks before Congress introduced the bill. And former President Trump now opposing a ban on TikTok, posting on Truth Social, quote, "If you get rid of TikTok, Facebook and Zuckerschmuck will double their business." That is an interesting take. Guy, what's with this? Donald Trump, China, he's tough on China. Why is he going soft on TikTok? I know Club for Growth is lobbying for them. You've read about that in Politico, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, I find it interesting that anyone on the political right, because we've been talking about the threat of the CCP for a long time, why we, any of us, would be saying, well, let's maybe let this one go. Because we know that ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's a CCP strings attached entity, as all the major corporations are based over there. And we know that there's an ability to just infuse with the algorithm propaganda onto the screens of so many young Americans. That's one very major concern that I have with TikTok. And then there's the data security, the espionage as well. So the fact that you had a bipartisan group of legislators in Congress come together and say it was 10 Republicans, 10 Democrats introduced this bill, that it's not necessarily a ban. It gives TikTok the opportunity to be totally divested. So ByteDance to divest completely, sever ties from TikTok, then they can continue to operate in the U.S., but not if they still have that ownership over in China. That's the choice that TikTok is being offered in this bill. It then passed out of a wider committee 50-0. Seems like a pretty widely supported and commonsensical step to take, given that this is an adversary clearly using this as a tool to spy on us and influence American culture in a way that could be quite dangerous.
Well, you know, TikTok we may just be on the verge of the demise of TikTok. People get sick of these kind of things. Let me see that Teen Vogue headline. We've got Biden's State of the Union address didn't address concerns of young voters. And I think we have another quote from that article. If President Biden wants to win the White House again, it's high time he and his advisors start acting on the demands of young people. And he needs to show us leadership and fundamental change, take a real stand, show us the voice of young people being heard and being taken seriously. And Anita, I heard that, you know, young people are starting to get rid of TikTok. They're kind of getting sick of it. I think if you ban it, you might make it cool, and that's the only thing that are going to keep young people interested.
Yeah, that's always the problem. People want what they can't have, right? I don't use TikTok. I don't want the Chinese government having my information, so I just said, you know, I'm not going to do it. A lot of my friends have TikTok, and there is some pretty cool information on there, some posts that I might want to read, but I can't open it. But, you know, to Guy's point, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in Congress, the 50-0 vote. Wow. But, you know, Biden's got a campaign commercial on there, so he's got to do something about that first.
Yep. And Dr. Nicole, look, this isn't exactly a partisan issue. You got President Biden who says he's going to ban it. You have some right-wingers, like I said, Club for Growth. And I think we had Vivek was he was defending TikTok, and now we got President Trump defending TikTok.
Well, and you have Vivek Ramaswamy and you have President Trump, who are very savvy business minds. And so they obviously are correct that if you completely ban TikTok in the United States, then you've now given over a monopoly to Meta, you know, Facebook and Instagram. And we've already seen how they silence people, the big tech. They were 100% silencing people during COVID, during the elections. So the last thing we want is this one company monopolizing all of this. So I do like the idea of divesting it. You have to cut the ties with the CCP, with TikTok. And then could it potentially still exist in the United States? Yes, but we have to make sure that our national security is intact. But of course, there's a huge elephant in the room just talking about social media as it pertains to our health as a society. It is completely destroying our youth and even adults who are just overutilizing. They have high amounts of depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations. It's terrible for us. So we have to figure out what we're doing with it.
Yeah, it's not just China. The regular old American apps are pretty bad for the kids, too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.